Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there, and welcome to New Life Live. Glad you're with us today, talking about Dr. Sherry Keffer.
Hey, good to be here.
Sherry brought along a wonderful, wonderful friend. Chris is right there. Chris, you doing all right?
I'm doing well.
Actually, she did bring you
She did.
to New Life.
I came along for the ride and stuck around.
I know. I bring the best, right?
You really do.
Dr. Amen, you,
Yes.
and, there was already a lot of amazing people here. But, yeah, Chris and I met. He was looking to rent an office in my office. And
Yes.
we spent, 10 minutes together. And I was like, this guy is really exceptional. He's
thank you.
smart. He's warm. He was funny. And I thought, I rented you an office. But then
Yeah.
I was like, hey, come hither. Come to New Life.
Yeah. Well, it's worked out pretty well for all of us right here.
It has.
Now, if you want to join us on the program, it's 1-800-229-3000. Chris Williams, Steve Arterburn here, Dr. Sherry Keffer. Today in Devotions, I was sharing with our folks the fact that the original St. Nicholas, there are a lot of theories and stories about the original St. Nicholas. The one that I had believed before I looked at some stuff written by a guy named Peterson, the thing I had heard is that there were 3 daughters, they didn't have a dowry, and he snuck in and filled their shoes with money, and now they could get married. Not true. Their father was so in debt that he was about to sell his 3 daughters into prostitution.
Wow.
That's the real story. And St. Nicholas, at the real life St. Nicholas, found enough gold from people to pay off that father's debts so that they would not be sold into prostitution.
Wow.
So he became known as a patron saint of children. He was a protector of children. And I think about he would be very pleased to know that what we do here is also similar to what he did. Think of the impact on the lives of children that this Christmas they're going to be together with both families because somebody decided to go to intimacy in marriage, or dad decided to go to every man's battle. Just so many things that we do impact the lives of children. And I want to make a suggestion to you as we start out the program here, that this year, rather than focus on presents that you buy, and of course that's fine, but talk about the big present of presence, P-R-E-N-C-E. Be present for your children like never, ever before. Tradition, that's nice. Being present for your kids is better. Watching games and stuff on TV, great. Have it, do it. But not at the sacrifice of being present for your spouse, your kids, grandkids. Really an amazing thing. Now, this impact that we've had on kids, we can't do it without the help of our supporters. And so one of our supporters gave this ministry $50,000 that on Giving Tuesday, yesterday, could be matched. Whatever came in, she'd match it, up to $50,000. $60,000 came in. And another couple, they're matching that 10. Wow, it was a great Giving Tuesday for New Life. And thank you to all of you, because all of that goes to help us continue to do what we're doing right now. 1-800-229-3000 if you want to join us. 1-800-229-3000. I think St. Nicholas would really be happy to know that some children are being impacted greatly because of your support and the work that happens because you support New Life. If you want to be part of that, that number's 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I came into this thinking that my husband was the cause of many of our issues.
The New Life Intimacy and Marriage Workshop is coming to Southern California February 11th to the 13th.
But after learning about our attachment styles, I understood how our past hurts were playing into our present problems.
Join Steve Arterburn.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help people to grow more intimately together, and we believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life.
And Mylan and Kay Yurkovich.
We help couples understand how their attachment style is sabotaging their current relationship. And then we teach them how to create comfort in a relationship.
And New Life's group counselors will help you focus on the area that will benefit your marriage most. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Here at this workshop, we had our first ever conversation without yelling, blaming, and accusing.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. Really glad that you're with us here today. 1-800-229-3000.
I was just thinking after you said what you said, Steve,
What?
that St. Nicholas was among the leaders in sex trafficking, against sex trafficking. I mean, think about
Isn't
it.
that amazing?
I know. We never think about Santa Claus, in that way. But what a legacy. And you were just talking on the break about how, when we do things like that, we may not be St. Nicholas, but we are doing saintly things. We are doing things for the kingdom of heaven. And
Yes, we are.
Any part of helping against anything that hurts kids. So that's awesome.
Absolutely.
I have a confession to make.
What?
Just wanna do it here in front of everybody.
What?
I love Hallmark movies.
Yeah.
I love them. My wife hates them. I love them. Anytime I tune it in, I know that two people that hate each other in a small town, they are the only single people there. They look beautiful and everything, and they can't even imagine that they might marry one day. They hate each other, all this conflict, and then they get married, and then they save the town. And it's just such a great, wonderful story. And a lot of times they happen in places like Vermont. And we're going to go to Barrie, Vermont, and talk to Melody here. She listens and watches on the app, the New Life app. Hi, how are you today, Melody? How's it going?
Hi. It's
Hi
okay.
there. Well, what's happening? Tell us about what's happening in your life.
About a year ago, my husband got cancer, and it was like a sudden thing. He got cancer. They told him on the October 15th, and he was gone by November 19th.
Oh, my
Wow.
Very
goodness.
sudden, and
Wow.
I've been just struggling with the depression and just wanting to move forward.
Have you done anything other than just, struggle with it there by yourself? Have you tried anything or done anything?
I've done a couple grief groups. I've been doing some journaling. And I've
What
got
happened in
together
those,
with one other person.
What happened in those grief groups? Did it just not provide what you needed, or what?
Yeah, I mean, it helps. It helps to listen to other people.
Yeah.
But I suffered from depression anyways. I've been on antidepressants for years. So I think it's part of grief and part of my depression. And it's just put me down further than I've been ever before.
Yeah. So you need something more. I know this sounds really superficial, a lot of things I say and ask about do. But tell me about exercise for you.
Yeah, I'm having a really struggle with that. I need to push myself. I do have a seated elliptical that I use, and when I do that, I do feel better.
Sure.
I injured my leg in a car accident in 2001, and so walking it's not impossible. It's just hard. So if I use a walking stick, I can walk a little ways.
Well, that elliptical is amazing. That's a gift. And if there's any way possible that you can get back on there, for those of us who struggle with depression, whatever we do, it gets better with exercise. Whether we're on medication or not, exercise makes it better when we look at what we eat and all of that. And maybe a medication that was working before your husband died, since you struggled with depression, maybe now there needs to be a different medication. I would look at all of that. The problem with looking at all of that is when you're depressed, you don't want to look at anything. And it's really, really hard.
Exactly.
And I'm going to turn this over to Chris and Sherry, but I just want to say one other thing. I was on the phone this morning with Steve Grissom, who started divorce care and now grief care. And if there is a church in your area that has a grief care group, I think they're in their third generation on the material there. That could really...
Yeah, that was one of the ones I went to.
All right.
Share Grief.
Okay.
I think it's called Share Grief.
Okay. Well, I'm really glad that you
Zoom.
called us. Let's see what Sherry and Chris have for you there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Melody, what Steve is referring to, and I'm so glad, Steve, that you went to exercise in there, because there is not a part of our body, there's not a part of our existence that depression doesn't impact and affect. And that's what makes it so incredibly difficult to work through. And so you do want to look at medical interventions like medication. You want to look at some exercise. And I think the principle behind all of these things, especially exercise, is something is always better than nothing. And one of the things with depression is we're constantly looking for the home run to get us out of it. You know, maybe that one thing that's going to do it. But what we want to look at right now is what I call just moving the needle. So maybe the exercise doesn't lift you out of it, but it just moves the needle. Mm-hmm. And the other thing that I think is we really have to fight for, you know, as a person myself who struggles with periodic depression, is I have to fight for hope. But I have to cultivate that in my life as well. And so it's the brain wants to immediately move to the dark and negative. And we want to find the positive and the light. And I say that micro is better than macro, meaning we look for the small things, we look for the little things, and we try to attach to it. And then in the hopefulness, it's we want to start utilizing, and I think this is tied to the grief, is that so much of your life and your future was, and your history was tied to your husband. And now you want to kind of move into a more imaginative space where you picture what life would be, not in doom and gloom, but in hope and light of what your life can look like moving forward.
Okay.
You know what I just looked up, Melody? You know what your name means?
What?
Song.
What?
Song.
Song, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you know what's interesting about those of us and our names? Oftentimes when there's trauma, it's like the trauma assaults the very identity of who we are.
Right.
And it makes me curious about losses that you had growing up that would take this little child who was meant to be a songbird, right? Who had joy in her heart, but would bring some pain and sorrow that has gotten stuck. I mean, really, depression is... So can you share a little bit about what's coming up? Oh, darling, what's coming up?
There's a few things. I was molested when I was 5, and then my parents never hugged us. They never told us that they loved us. And I came from a family of 14, and my father was a minister, but it's just like they didn't give me the emotional support I needed.
Exactly.
And my husband gave me that.
Wow.
And then we were married for 32 years.
So that's a big, big loss, because it's exactly it. You came into your marriage starving for touch, starving for love, starving for hugs. And that loss is great. It's like he was He was giving you what you needed on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, right.
And
Exactly.
yeah, and so I get where you're coming from. In for some of us, the grief groups are a wonderful like jumping board, but part of what you need, my dear, is going to be, instead of like crisis help only with a grief group, there's a part of you that's going to need to develop maintenance love, maintenance care, day-to-day care.
Well, you know,
Not that
Sherry,
you can ever replace your husband, but it's like, I've got to get those hugs because you didn't get it growing up.
But I'd say this, even before that, going to a grief group could be like a person who has a tumor. Maybe nutrition is helpful for the tumor, but what you need is a surgeon to get the tumor out, and then you can go to a group and hear about better nutrition. And I think she needs a surgeon. I think you've got to dive back into the 5-year-old abuse, the 5-year-old who was abused. You dive back in, and then you have an opportunity to come out different than before. And that takes a really great therapist who is a Christian, but who is an amazing clinician first, because you need to do some really major work, and then the grief group has a different meaning. And then what Sherry's talking about, Sherry, what I'm hearing you describe is really a Bible study with other women that love each other and are engaged and care about each other. And when you're married, you don't go to women's Bible studies sometimes because you love being with your husband so much. And so all of this, I think, is really, you can get better is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, and that's where I was headed, Steve, is really just doing some deeper work. I mean, just even think about our conversation here with the three of us. I mean, Melody, your heart wept. You felt safe enough with us to weep. And Steve's right. Getting that deeper trauma, knowing that you've just passed an anniversary date, it's a perfect time for you to get in and get some good EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, like just help to get those tears out. Because I work with folks, and once we empty
we don't have any Christian counselors.
Well, guess
There's
what?
Not any Christian counselors.
We're going to have you
around
stay
here.
on the line because we're gonna see who's there with New Life. We're going to
Yeah.
help you get somebody.
Okay.
That's right. And
Okay.
And I just want to leave you with one just verse of hope. And again, it's not a curative aspect, I'm not trying to put, as Steve reminds us from Jeremiah, superficial bandage on a deep wound, but to move the needle. In Psalm 40, as David is going through deep, deep grief and fear and loss, he said, I waited patiently for the Lord. He turned to me and heard my cry. He lifted me out of the pit, out of the mud and mire. He set my feet on a rock and gave me a firm place to stand. Now listen to this. He put a new song in my mouth, a hymn of praise to our God. And I just think that, as Sherry had really pointed out, that your name represents song, that there is a song that God sings over you and sings in you and is desiring to sing through you. But as we've said, as we talk a lot, our pain, oftentimes, the volume of our pain drowns out the song that God has put in us.
Yeah. I'm really glad you called. Melody, we put together, Dave Stoop and I, a 12-step study on grief. And there's a workbook, and it takes you through the 12 steps in a grief process. I'm sending you 2 of those workbooks and 2 Life Recovery Bibles, and I'm hoping you find somebody to work through those 12 steps and focus on grief in that process. I'm hoping and praying that we can find a counselor that can do the job of trauma treatment. It is amazing how much influence at 5 years old that one act or many can have for the rest of a person's life. And I'm hoping that you're going to find some hope, help, healing. And I'm so sorry for your loss, but I am grateful that you had a man that you loved, and he loved you. I think so many people think that later in life, I just got to be satisfied with whatever it is. I'm telling you, I'm having the best years of my marriage in these years. You can do that too. And it wasn't always great. I've told you about that. But it's great now. And I'm just hoping and praying that you won't be satisfied, or you won't realize it could have been better, or you're waiting for somebody to die to be better. And we've got that marriage intensive coming up in February. You call us and we'll help you get better. We'll help you get better. Especially if you're younger, you've got years ahead of you. Go to that thing and have the best years ever. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
It had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. New Life's Every Man's Battle Workshop can help.
After 7 years, just one weekend, a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
Now the workshop is coming to Dallas December 3rd through the 5th. Don't wait for him to call. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the New Life member thank you gift of the New Life Journal, 100 Days of Peace, 7 Ways to Choose Healing, Growth Has No Boundaries, a Restoration Bible, and a New Life grocery tote to hold it all. Plus, there are ongoing benefits, like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
All right, we are back. Well, I hope and pray that whatever you're involved with, you let us help you with it if it's a problem. Please let us know. I just got a note here. It says, yeah, okay. And Larry can't come in today. So, that's what the note says. Larry's on a plane right now because he's going to Texas. I'm going in the morning. We're having our Christmas party. We do celebrate Christmas. And I was joking with the people today. I said, yeah, I've got to get that signed picture of myself to give to the White Elephant party. I was joking with them. Let's go back to the phones here. By the way, if you need some help, you're not alone. But you might stay alone if you don't call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and get the help. If you want to join us on radio, here's that phone number. We'll be here for another hour and 17 minutes. And that is 1-800-229-3000. Actually, it's an hour and 37 minutes, I think, or 23, something like that. Who cares? Kathy, she's calling from Idaho, KMEI. Hey, Kathy, how you doing? What's going on? Kathy? Yeah, hi.
Yeah, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can.
I need a little help here. I don't feel too well this morning just because I struggle with chronic pain a great deal and had a rough night. But anyway, I'm calling you not about myself, but I need your guys' help to tell me what point me in some directions on referrals and what to say or do with my sister Karen, who just told me about an hour ago that she almost killed herself last night because her life is so unmanageable,
Wow.
so difficult, so depressed. She's physically lost a lot of weight. She's down to not much weight at all, and because of depression, and there's domestic violence in the home with her husband, and that has ramped up over the weekend again. And she wants to leave, but finances, of course, are the hardest thing of how to survive on your own. It's near impossible where she lives. It
Are there
just
kids?
is impossible right now. There's one child in the home right now. One is independent, out of the home. And they're obviously not doing well in the situation with two parents who are barely surviving. The domestic abuse with her husband revolves around his alcoholism. So he ramps up to be the super angry drunk and threatens her, and threatened her over the weekend with, do you want me to break your jaw, with his fist clenched right in front of her face.
Wow.
She does have a safety plan.
That's
I've
horrible.
developed that with her, and but she's just really depressed. So, and she went to the doctor yesterday, and I think they didn't cover anxiety and depression. So she giggles and finds a way to keep going, but she's been telling me for over a week that I'm on the edge. I can't do this anymore. I am on the edge. And then calls this morning to say,
Kathy, how close
terrible...
how close does your sister live to you?
We're about 24 hours away from each other.
Okay. So
in driving time.
In driving time. Okay.
And I'm so sick that I can't go out and rescue and help because I don't sleep when I travel. I don't sleep. I have a problem with insomnia and sleep, and I have a chronic continuous headache in my head. So anyway, that's probably not an option, but anyway, that's just what
well,
can I
let's
do
see
to
what
help her?
the other. Okay, Sherry, why don't you explore some options here?
Well, Kathy, I think you're just hitting a chord in my heart, and I'm trying to stay in your business and keep out of my business. So in this call, my brother committed suicide last December, the 21st.
Oh.
So it's very real. It's very real. She's crying for help. And if her weight is down and she is telling you she trusts you, when people feel really trapped, and that was a part of what happened with my brother, even though he wasn't trapped, in his mind he was trapped. He didn't know how to get out of the situation that he was in. And the only way he knew how was to take his life. And she's big time trapped. She's with an abuser.
Mm-hmm.
And so helping to facilitate a couple things. One, she may need to go into treatment. She may need to go in and have like a 72-hour hold to be evaluated.
Yeah.
She's not being honest with her doctors. She's not being honest with her nurse. And do you know the doctors and nurses? Do you know who she just saw yesterday?
I do not know their names, but I could get them.
Yeah, I would call them. And I would let them know that she's been suicidal for the last week. She didn't tell them that yesterday. I would alert them to that. They may be able to help you figure out how to actually get her into an inpatient place so she can be evaluated. The other place is and I love that you helped her figure out a safety plan. She may need a step further than that, especially if he abused her this weekend. She's going to need a safe place.
Mm-hmm.
And that may be a domestic violence shelter. That may be your home. That may be some other place, but she's not well.
Which includes the child as well. We got to get the child to safety
exactly.
as well.
And the thing is, there'll be an excuse for everything. And so, no excuse. I mean, just coming to stay with you for a weekend while everything gets kind of figured out is not a horrible thing. Or if you don't have the money to put her up in a hotel near you, ask the church or ask somebody to help with that. But I would just think of anything and everything I could other than hope things get better. That's not real hope.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back, and we're just got a couple of more things we want to say here to Kathy, and we're saying it to anybody, really, who has somebody that is at a point where they're being abused, they're stagnant, or they're just stuck, and they need some help here. And they're suicidal.
Yeah, I want to say one thing before Chris wraps here. I think the hardest thing for people to deal with once a loved one commits suicide is 100% of us ask what we could have done.
Yeah. That's right.
What more we could have done. And what I would hate for you, Kathy, is for you to be left with this, oh my gosh, I didn't do any of these things because I didn't know what to do. And that's what but we're going to give you a 3-point plan here that you could start today to start intervention. And I'm sorry it's fallen in your lap. It's very heavy. I know I've been there myself, but I'm proud of you that you've called us and stepped up to get some help right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Kathy, the first thing we want to do is get all resources possible on board to get your sister into physical safety and most likely her child as well. So getting them to physical safety and out of her current environment is just crucial. So whether that be your place, somebody else's, a shelter. So that's number one. Number two is we need to get her help. True psychiatric, therapeutic help to help stabilize her in what's going on the inside. And then as this goes along the third step is ongoing protection and care. And so this could look like a, restraining order from husband. This could look, usually that looks like a legal procedure, as well as the ongoing physical care and psychological care that she needs. So those three things, but we got to look right now at a life and death situation of her physical well-being and putting all resources necessary to getting her safe and in a cared-for place.
I want to mention, too, don't be afraid to dial 911. If you try to reach her and you can't get a hold of her, and I would say, we often tell family members you need a 72-hour, you need to watch them for 72 hours at least. And then if they don't pick up, I've even sent police out to do what's called a well check. They'll actually go to the house and make sure that that person is okay. Those are some things that you can do as well.
All right, I hope that's helpful. I'm really glad you called. I'm going to send you, just our way of blessing your life, I'm going to send you a Restoration Bible, and I'm going to send you Understanding and Loving a Person that has depression. Hope and pray something there is going to help. All right, let's go. How about we talk with Lysandra from Fort Worth, Texas, listening on KWRD, Fort Worth. Went to seminary in Fort Worth, loved it, wonderful. Hi there, how are you today?
I'm doing okay.
Well, what's going on? You don't sound too okay today. What's happening in your life?
Well, I have friends and family that have been staying with me off and on for years, and I'm on housing, and I get in trouble. I'm almost about to get thrown off housing because now I have my friends staying with me, and I don't know how to break the habit, because when somebody's in need, I want to be there for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't know how to break that habit.
You know, have you told the people that are staying with you that it's really going to be a problem for you if they stay because you're going to get in trouble for it? Have you shared that with them?
Yes.
And what was their response to that?
Well, I don't want to get you thrown off housing. You know, I don't want to get you in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And but they don't have anywhere else to go, so I feel like self-preservation.
Yeah, but you could end up
override.
Yeah, but you could end up not having a place to go.
Right.
And so saying to them, I really care about you. That's why I wanted you to come stay. But now I'm not going to have a place if you stay. Let's find another option for you. Sherry, Chris, what are you guys thinking?
Done that before.
Yeah. Lysandra, was there a period of your growing up years where you were homeless or almost homeless? Where you grew up in a single parent family and didn't know where your next meal was?
I had both my parents, but my dad molested me, and my mom did leave, and we were with my mom for a long time, but we always had somewhere to go.
Well, the reason I asked that,
God gave me this gift of caring a lot.
And yet,
I don't like to see anybody in pain or anything.
No, I get that, but you know what? I'm going to be really honest with you, sweetheart. This is the deal. Is sometimes we spiritualize our care, because God would never want you to be homeless. God wouldn't want you breaking the rules of your own home in order to meet the needs of somebody else. It's kind of like our wires get crossed. This is what I'm wondering, and thank you for being so precious to take us into this vulnerable part of your life. I'm heartbroken, girl, that your dad molested you and your mom left.
Thank you.
I'm heartbroken. And what that left you with is you were a little girl who lived with the perpetrator, the sexual molester, and your protector left. And because of that, some of us as trauma survivors, when we feel like somebody isn't being protected, it taps into our not being protected. You weren't protected as a little girl, and so that becomes a sumo wrestler size.
Oh no, my mom left and she took us.
Oh, your mom left. I thought you said your mom. Okay, so your mom took you away. Good. So your mom protected you. She removed you from your dad.
Yes.
Okay. Now, so let me take it another way. Your mom got you out and away from your dad, right?
Right.
sometimes as trauma survivors, we basically now wire in this belief that we've got to get people out of help. Every single time they're in trouble, we've got to get people help. You might be spiritualizing a trauma response that happened, which was a good thing. Your mom did the right thing. But it's given you this idea that if somebody is in distress, you've got to help them more often than not. You have a hard time saying no.
Well, and Lysandra, their distress becomes your distress. And what that points to, what that points to is this. There is a person in your life in need who's been deeply neglected. And that's you. You have a place to put the care. You have a place to put the protection. And, as you're on housing, it speaks to that, again, you're willing to bleed out for other people, but unwilling to keep your own lifeblood for you so that you can become in a better place to help others.
Yeah, Mother Teresa, one of the great honors of my life was hearing her in person, and she loved the dying and starving, but she had to eat herself. She took nourishment so she could continue to do it. Oh my goodness, I'm going to send you Take Your Life Back, because that's the book that helps you find that voice and to honor God by honoring yourself while you honor others. And I just hope and pray we can maybe even off the air help you explore some other things here. I'm really glad that you called. Oh my goodness.
I think about how you started the show today, Steve, talking about St. Nicholas and, getting money to help girls that would be given over to prostitution. And I'm thinking about Melody and Lysandra. Look how their lives have been mixed up, right? Our wires get crossed when we're molested, and we end up getting depressed or doing things that aren't really good for us. And
well, when we harm people in vulnerability, especially children, it guts them, or it guts us when we're those people. And getting ourselves back is so critically important.
It's huge. It's not selfish. It's self-care.
I would argue that it's godly, because it's God's desire and God's will for us.
Yeah.
If any of this is ringing true and you want some help with it, you call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have counselors. Chris and I are going to be doing the Emotional Freedom Workshop online January 22nd. That would help if this is you. Take Your Life Back will help also. We'll take a break. Come right back after this.
My husband's been addicted to porn since he was 10 years old.
I found out about 9 months into my marriage that he has a porn addiction.
My name is Shelly Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
Restore has empowered me and has given me the tools to work through my anger, work through my pain, work through my confusion, and help me realize that I am worthy.
Being here and being surrounded by people who get it has given me my power back.
Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Southern California February 25th to the 27th. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go online to newlife.com.
Thank you, Restore. You have changed my life forever.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the New Life member thank you gift of the New Life Journal, 100 Days of Peace, 7 Ways to Choose Healing, Growth Has No Boundaries, a Restoration Bible, and a New Life grocery tote to hold it all. Plus, there are ongoing benefits, like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here, and I just want you to know that we love you and we care about you. I was talking with one of our supporters who in 2013 came to Healing is a Choice, and she's been giving to this ministry ever since. If we've helped you in any way, could you help us? If you will, we'll send you 100 Days of Freedom from Depression. It's a wonderful devotional book. We love these 100 Days of Freedom, and the Depression one just came in as our way of saying thank you for December. Also, on our YouTube channel, I've gone through the alphabet on Going Deeper, and I'm down to X, and the word of the day is Xenagogue. And if you don't know what that means, I will help you to understand what it means. And I want to mention this. You could still sign up for Every Man's Battle. It's this weekend. It's in Dallas. And just imagine, whatever you've done, somebody else is going to be at that workshop, and they've done it also. And maybe you've never molested a child, and you think it would never be possible. But there are a lot of guys that are doing a lot of things they never thought were possible. Why don't you stop, pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE, and let us help you. You're not alone. In fact, every research project we've ever heard about or seen says that more men in church on Sunday looked at pornography than their Bible. It's horrible. If lust is the problem with your thought life, this weekend, it could be different. You can't just want to be better. You can't just know you need to be better. You have to be willing to be better. And that starts with picking up a phone and calling 1-800-NEW-LIFE and saying, tell me about the workshop. It's that simple. And if you're married to somebody that needs to pick up the phone, you pick it up and you call, and we'll tell you how to help them. It's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. As I mentioned, Chris and I'll do Emotional Freedom January the 22nd, and Intimacy in Marriage is February the 11th. You call right now, you get $200 off of that. And don't forget about Life Recovery Today on the NRB Network on Thursdays, 3 o'clock Eastern Time. We'll go back to our calls, and let's go to Jessica, Bakersfield, California. She watches on YouTube. Glad that she does. By the way, we'll do another program after this. You can join us, 1-800-229-3000. If you're on the line, hang on. We'll get to your call. Jessica, how can we help you here today?
Hi, thank you so much for taking my call.
Sure.
I think the world of you guys. Always listen in. All right. I'm feeling really nervous.
It's okay.
But here I go. This Thanksgiving holiday was awful. My parents came out to visit, and, I'm dealing with a lot of shame, and I call myself a Christian, and I believe that I am. I know the scripture that says, honor your mother and father. Well, here's my question. How do I let go of the guilt and shame for cursing out my father, who is mentally, verbally, and psychologically abusive, but he's also bipolar/schizoaffective? That's my question.
Yeah. And how did being a Christian get thrown into there? You think that a Christian wouldn't do that?
Yeah. I don't think that they should get mad, but, I've read a couple of books, actually a lot of books from you guys, and I think I might be a vacillator, and I saw so much. I feel like my mom, my sister, and I have been victims for, since childhood, since my mom was married to him. He commands respect, and, we grew up as Catholic, and then, I became Christian, but he whatever he says goes. And it's hard to watch him. Yeah.
Let me just say this. You are a Christian. You're just not a perfect Christian. And
Yeah.
And maybe you didn't say it the right way, but maybe some things you said needed to be said to him. Could that be true?
I feel so bad. That, honestly, Steve, I know that's true. No one sticks up to him. No one stands up to him. I mean, my mom, she just wants peace. She's such a nice lady, but he's so verbally abusive to her. And growing up in that household.
So, Jessica,
can I jump?
Let me jump in for a second. Can I make this very, very clear? Your mom does not know how to get peace. As much as she wants peace, she doesn't want peace. Because you said anything my father says goes. So when he says something and it has this, license to toxify the atmosphere in relationships and hurt people, what Dad gets to do is just flat out permission to cause harm and hurt people. And so when people in this situation who are wrestling around with, how do I honor my father and mother? And I just ask this simple question is this: is honoring that which is dishonorable honorable? You can't honor that which is dishonorable. Honoring the dishonorable is dishonorable, right? So we have to choose a different way. I can honor, like maybe who my father, who my mother, who this person is, but I will not give license and permission to abusive and damaging behavior, very sinful behavior. That doesn't help anybody, especially the person where it's coming from.
Makes sense?
It does. And here's the kicker, guys. He'll text all three of us, my sister, my mom, and I, like nothing's wrong.
Yes.
Yesterday.
That's a dangerous person.
Of course he will do that. Because,
so there's no ownership.
Yeah. So what should she do? What do we think she would do? We've got about 1 minute.
Well, I think, and I want to get Sherry's take on this too, but I think the first thing is this, is that, Jessica, you need to learn to unhook your well-being from your dad. And that's going to take some hard, probably therapeutic work, getting into a counselor and talking about the ways in which dad's behavior has shaped you, informed you, and impacted your shame.
Yeah.
Your primary negative belief about yourself. Because if your dads are supposed to mirror back to their children who they are. But if the mirror is a haunted house, we then start thinking something very bad of ourselves, and that becomes a petri dish for shame. So you got to get into work on that. And I'd say the second thing is you got to learn boundaries.
Sherry, any thoughts here as we close up?
Yeah, I just I want to give you permission to take some space from your dad. You have been the protector. You've been the mouthpiece, and your mom's enabling. She's allowing his bad behavior, and you're the one that gets in the middle of it. And I don't know, I think sometimes it's really hard for us to take a step back and say, you just harmed me, you're harming us, and I'm not going to be able to see you this Christmas because I'm not okay with your behavior. That's a big step. That's a big ask. That's a big boundary. So just take some time to reflect on what you can do to protect yourself. And send a message that his behavior isn't okay.
And a final thing, said it many times. It does not make sense that while we're celebrating Christmas, we decide to spend a lot of time with the most hurtful person in our lives. So, if you're going to be with him, be there for lunch or dinner. Be there an hour. Show up. But it's also okay to say, I'm not going to do this. Because honoring your father, who is dishonorable, the best way to do it, go become the honorable person he could never, ever help you become. That's honoring your dad without honoring dishonorable behavior. 1-800-NEW-LIFE if you need some help. 1-800-229-3000 if you want to join us on the next program. Guys, every man's battle this weekend. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Call.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you. But you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll